Hey everyone, John Garrett here with DramaDomain.com. Time for another Stargate Universe review. So this is Season 2, Episode 3. Okay, where we left off last time, the ship had come out of FTL, and they were heading toward an unknown object out there in the blackness of space, so we didn't know what was going on. Turns out, as they come to find out, they're heading for another ship. Another Destiny style type of a ship. So it looks like they're on a collision course, but they soon realize that, hey, we're docking with this ship. So instead of a crash, they just kind of sync up with this ship, obviously as was intended by the Ancients program that they included in this deal. So we can see that, hey, this thing is transferring information, and the colonel here is like, hey, how did you know that's what's going to happen? And Rush is a total asshole. He's like, oh, it's obvious it was going to happen. No, it wasn't obvious, but anyway, after the fact, yeah. Well, I mean, and remember that Rush has the master password for the ship now. Nobody else knows he has that, but he has it. So he's kind of even more arrogant than usual. And now they're seeing the data's transferring, and it's like, probably from time to time, these ships meet up and they exchange whatever information they have and they sync up with each other. So that's what's happening, and they can kind of tell that, well, we've got a certain amount of time before this transfer is over, and the ship's probably going to go back on its way. So, we need to get over there and take a look. And at that point, Colonel Young is saying, hey, why don't you take Brody and what's his name, Volker or whatever his name is, take those guys over there. Dr. Rush is like, what are you, crazy, those idiots? I should be going, and I think it's kind of like Young wants to punish this guy for being an asshole, which, is well deserved. So he says, Rush, we need you to stick around here and take a look at this transfer, keep an eye on the information we're getting, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Rush is grounded. He can't go over to the other ship, even though that's what he wants to do because, he's a scientist. But anyway, he's stuck behind. So then we see Camille out in the hallway, and she has a little meetup with Colonel Telford, and he wants to know what's going on. He's not really in the loop anymore, and she goes, oh, we found another ship, and Colonel Young is going to send a team over there to see what's going on. So he's thinking, I got to get in on this. I got to get back in the loop on things here. Even though he's a colonel, he's kind of persona non grata around there, because even though he was brainwashed, he was working actively against them. So he's kind of a unknown quantity at this point. People aren't really willing to trust him that much. Anyway, we got the team over here on the other ship. All the lights are off. Things are not looking very good over here, so they don't know what they're going to find. And they're kind of stumbling around in the dark, just so, they can kind of, see if there's anything of use over here, I guess. Meanwhile, back in the control center on the Destiny, Eli is like, wow, we're getting all this info. This is great. Rush is still not happy because he'd rather be over there on the ship. So he decides, I'm going to take off. I'm out of here, man. I got to go to the bathroom. And he tells the colonel, see ya. Chloe. The less you see of this chick, the better. I know she's supposed to be the hot chick on the show, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling her. I don't like her character. I think she's a whiny bitch. And I don't like her. Give me, what's her name? What's the lieutenant's name? I can't remember. But the one that Scott used to hook up with, and now she's upset because he's not hooking up with her. He's hooking up with Chloe. Anyway, that's the one I want to see. But anyway, they want to show her. So she's here with the doctor. Like, hey, you're supposed to meet me. And she's telling her, I don't have any bullet wounds anymore. Because remember, in the last episode of last season, she was shot in the leg. And she was losing blood and just about to die, probably bleed out. But then in the first episode, we saw that it mostly healed. So she's trying to show up here with the doctor and say, hey, I need to take a look at me because I'm healed. And that's not normal. So I think we're pretty safe in assuming that the aliens that captured her back in the day, last season, they must have done something to her, and she's healing rather rapidly now, and I'm sure we're gonna have to deal with that later on. Anyway, Rush we all knew where he was going. He wasn't going to the bathroom. He was going to his control center here, and he wants to take a look at things, look at the transfer, look at the ship, and he can't really do that from the control center, so he comes here to this bridge area that apparently only he knows about. So he's in here, and of course who's going to confront him but the apparition of his wife. And you can tell they see something on this ship that could help Rush and company get home. But is Rush gonna actually tell them about it? That's the thing. Is he gonna tell them about what he now knows? You can bet no. Anyway, so now Telford is saying, hey man, I want to be in the loop here. You know, can't you just you know, run things by me? And you know, Young is like, no, I'm not running a damn thing by you, man. I'm in control of this thing. But he's like, look, man, I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to help you out. I'm your friend again, because they used to be friends before he was brainwashed. But now he's like, hey, man, you know, I can help you out. Why don't you let me help? You know, just you know, I'm not trying to control things. Let me help. So Young is like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna let you back in the loop. Let's do this thing. He needs someone to help him out and carry the burden with him. So that was kind of a cool thing, that maybe this guy doesn't have to shoulder it all himself. Anyway, so on the other ship, they got this control center semi-running. They got things semi-going here, so they're feeling a bit more safe, a bit more confident, and they're like, you know, let's spread out here. Let's take a look and see what else we can find around here. Unfortunately, we see off in the bowels of the ship somewhere some kind of hand coming out of this, you know, chamber. Doesn't look good. 2 fingers there, 2 kind of scaly fingers. And, you know, probably, oh God, this is going to be awful when they meet up with whatever the hell this is. So then we get back to the Destiny and the prisoners, the Lucian Alliance who attacked the ship at the end of last season in the first episode. There's only a few of them left. There's a handful left. They're prisoners. They're pissed off. Hey, how long are we going to be prisoners? We can help. You know, we want to work together with you. But Colonel Young isn't buying it. He doesn't want anything to do with these guys, and he's kind of forced to keep this handful of people. Because remember, if it was up to him, he was going to kick all of them off. But he was forced by the Earth Command, you know, Stargate Command, to hold on to several key members of the Lucian Alliance here, because they know things. And there was some kind of a, you know, altercation here, or not altercation, but confrontation. Like, hey, what are you going to do with this? And you know, Young is not interested in partnering and cooperating with these guys. Anyway, back on the other ship, on the siege ship, Brody here is like, oh, I see something. I'm going to take off and take a look and see what's going on somewhere else. So you know that doesn't bode well for either one of those dudes. One of them's going to get messed up. But anyway, so Commander Young here shows up, and he has to tell Camille, look, why don't you not tell the prisoners what's going on around here? Because they knew about the siege ship, and he knows that she's the one that told him, and she shouldn't be telling the prisoners that crap. And you know, she's kind of a bitch and always interfering. And you know what? Technically, she's right about some things, but you know, the show kind of sets her up to be the heavy, to be the bad guy, and I kind of go with it. I don't like her. I don't like her interfering with Colonel Young. That's what she does. She interferes. She's an interferer. I don't like it. Anyway, so now Eli has discovered what Rush had seen earlier, which I'm sure Rush was hoping he wouldn't, but what it turns out is that the other ship has enough energy reserves for them to dial the Stargate. Now remember, from the get-go, they didn't have enough power on that ship to dial up the Stargate and dial home. There was just only enough power for these short jumps. But Eli's saying, hey, this ship has enough power. If we can grab it, we can dial home and get the hell out of here. And so that's their plan now. Go do that. And as we saw here through the eyes of the Kino, they set the Kino loose earlier on the other ship. And remember, the Kino is those floating globes that are the floating video cameras. So they set it loose on the other ship, and here it is, but you know, it runs into some trouble. Something happens to it, so that's kind of ominous. And then Eli sees on his screen, wait, something happened to my Kino, but he's too busy to really do anything with it. So now here's where Brody's like, okay, I'm out of here, buddy. You know, one of us will probably get killed, but you know, hopefully not me. So I'll see ya. And so then they bring Rush over here. I don't know if you can tell here, but those are unfinished Stargates in the background. And Rush is like, this is where they actually built the Stargates that this ship would take and drop off on the planets, and then they could gate around the universe. So, you know, he's not very impressed. He's like, yeah, that's good. Let's get out of here. And they're like, damn, this guy's cold. Rush is just so fucking cold, man. He's just cold. What an asshole. Anyway, so now here's Volker, and he's like, hey, man, welcome back. Did you bring any snacks? And wait a minute, what the fuck? Some kind of a turtle-looking alien shows up, and you know, he's not very threatening. It's like, you know, Volker probably put him in a headlock and start punching him or something. But anyway, so, you know, he's not even a threat. He just falls down to the ground for whatever reason. We never did figure that out, why he did that. But back on the other ship, the lieutenant here, she's got to examine the prisoners, and this here's Robert Nepper, actor Robert Nepper, and he's one of my favorites. So he's acting up, and he decides he's going to grab her, but she kind of checks him in. Remember, she's a military officer, so she's had some training, so she kind of, you know, hams him up real quick, and she's telling the guard to back off. She's got it, so she's hurting him. She's kind of got him in one of those grips where he's like hurt and fucked up and punked out like a biatch. And you know, I did like that. Normally I don't like the lieutenant too much these days, but I was glad of that scene. Then this guy shows up, and you kind of tell they got kind of a thing. You know, the lieutenant here and TJ and this guy. I don't remember his name, but you can see that there's start of a thing going on between them, and they're starting to really, you know, really have something in common and really, you know, connect, which I can tell is going to be a problem later. So unfortunately, you know, Commander Young has to break up a little love fest here, and he says, hey, we got an alien. We need you to take a look at this alien. She's like, yeah, cool. Let me take a look at the alien. I'll head over here. And they, you know, the colonel here, oh, I'm going too. Wait a minute, man. Who the hell authorized that? But they decided to let his ass go. So she gets over to the alien, and he's all scaly and everything, as you can see. She doesn't want to touch that shit, but you know, he wakes up like, hey, why is this chick touching on me? I was violated, man. It was like a roofie. You know, he thought he was violated. So, you know, he gets up and he's looking a little bit pathetic, but kind of scary, like he might be able to do some damage. And you probably hit him and nothing would happen. So he looks kind of pathetic right there. And they're like, Rush, hey, help us out here. You know, talk to him. Rush is like, I can't talk to that mofo. I don't know what type of language he speaks. I talk to some other aliens. So they're kind of at a loss of what to do with this guy. And Scott, you know, kind of the dumb jock that he is, he steps up like, hey, I'm Scott. And the alien is like, I don't give a damn what your name is, you stupid jock. And so that didn't go over well, and he's just sitting there like, why don't you just kill me already? Kind of pathetic. It was kind of sad that he's just sitting there surrounded by these clods, but oh well. So, you know, Volker here has some food, some dried fruit, and he's like, hey, why don't we give him this dried fruit? Or I think Scott suggested that, and the alien didn't like that shit. He was disgusted, as was I, and he spit that shit out. And he's looking up here at TJ, probably the only friendly looking person, so he's like, hey, you gonna kill me or what? So he just sat there and chilled, which is really all he could do is chill. Unfortunately, they did a sweep, and they said, oh man, this mofo has a bunch of friends. So there was a whole gang of these guys roaming the ship now that they got to deal with. And, you know, we really don't know what the agenda of these aliens is, so they don't seem to be immediately hostile, but, you know, I'm sure from the military mindset, they're like, we got to know much more about these aliens. So you know, the show becomes a little more ominous at this point, and a little more anxious of what is really going to go on here. So I'm going to wrap up this part right now, and stay tuned for part 2 of this review of Stargate Universe Season 2, Episode 3. Thanks for watching.